Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Autodromo Nazionale Monza here in Italy. Tonight it is the Italian Grand Prix in the Elite Warriors for Peace Classic Series. My name is Robert Hill Jr. Joining me tonight is Derik Vance. Derik, how you doing tonight?
Hey, Robert, good to be back here. You know what? The first time in Italy. So if I'm muted for a few seconds, that's because I went and went to grab a cannoli.
Well, you know what? I actually had a cannoli just before getting into the booth here tonight. It was delicious, and I wish I had a second one as we're a minute 20 left in qualifying here. RC Anderson, David Tooker at the top. Last week, we were at the Auto Club Speedway. It was Jared Rexing taking the victory over Cameron Rich and Drew Eisenman there with Justin Wadsworth and Bill Tyler rounding out the top five. It was the first race in the series, so of course there were quite a few cautions, 15 to be exact last week, but we are not anticipating any of those tonight as we are on a road course. No fun flags expected here as we've seen in previous Elite Series, so nice to know that we'll get some good green flag racing here. And a bit more information, 44 laps tonight, 50% fuel capacity, and 2 sets of tires, so one on the car and one in the pits. Derik, I don't know how much experience you have even watching races here at Monza, but what can these guys expect out here tonight?
Yeah, this is actually the first time that I have seen in person or virtually race here in Monza. So it is going to be quite interesting. I know a lot was learned last week. I do believe Rob. Obviously, we were on a speedway with the new car, the Locust car here. So it is going to be interesting to see how the drivers adapt to having this first race here in this season with this new car.
Yeah, I think it'll definitely be a brand new experience for these guys. Obviously, first race here on a road course. We've done the oval race. Now we get to hit the road course here at Monza. It's going to be interesting to see the handling of these cars compared to previous variations of the open wheel cars that we've run and how these guys adapt to it. Of course, it's not going to be something that they may pick up right away. Obviously, some of these guys are pretty darn solid, but for others, it's going to be a big learning curve early on in this event.
Yeah, I think you're spot on, Robert, there as well. And like you said, it is going to be interesting to see how long it takes these drivers here to get a feel not only for the car, like you said, but the track being the first road course of this season.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting here as we do see the cars on the starting grid. We will take a look at the starting order tonight here at Monza. On the pole tonight is RC Anderson with David Tooker starting to his outside. Just behind them in row number 2 is Bill Tyler and Jorge Nieva, with Ethan Stanley running out the top 5 there. Tyler Foti outside of row 3. Justin Fortner, Chad Frankenfield, Leighton Norgard, and last week's winner, Jared Rexing, round out the top 10. And just behind them, Drew Eisenman, Hunter Smith, Justin Wadsworth, Michael Hossack, Bryson Ha, all there in the top 15. Ryan Schuld, Mark Murphy, Mark Rabilas back there in the 18th position, as it looks like our grid overlay has broken up here. 19th as Craig Forsyth, Ryan Schuld there as well, Cameron Rich, Jim Herrick, Jordan Owens, Tate Lytle, Rory Collins, Shane Coogan, and Bill Colley rounding out the field here tonight. 27 Lotus 49 cars will take the green flag here tonight, and I think it's going to be very interesting to see what approach these guys take to this race. Will it be a settle in and learn as we go, or will there be guys that are just pedal to the metal right from the start?
Yeah, it is definitely going to be interesting there as you touched on, and you see the gentleman there in P1, RC Enerson, a lot of IndyCar experience. So, will that pay off for him this evening, not especially on a road course, but in this Lotus car?
As we do see the pace car taking that turn onto pit road here, that will hand the field to RC Anderson. Of course, green flag is in the air, and we are underway here at Monza. Nice jump by Anderson.
Yeah, absolutely. As we are underway, one lap of 44 and leading the pack into turn number one, as you mentioned, RC Enerson.
RC just ahead of David Tooker there. Looks like we have a bit of an issue in the back. They did get it sorted out. Mark Robilas lost a ton of spots on the start, but just look at all these cars into the next. Oh, we have an incident there as we see a Leighton Norgard just about going around. Somebody's cutting through the track here. Drew Eisenman, I think Michael Hossack as well. These guys are all racing rather hard early on, as this track is very heavily covered by trees, and we're having an issue with our aircraft tonight.
Yeah, it is. As you can see there during that little slide, we have someone off track.
Michael Hossack here.
Yeah, off track there as well, getting back on. But yeah, a lot of congestion in the opening laps here. I thought maybe they would, kind of feel each other out a little bit. But RC Enerson has jumped out to quite a lead on lap one.
Yeah, as we see, we have an incident in the back. That's a Leighton Norgard, and I believe Tate Lytle as well. Both of those guys have been involved. A Leighton, his second incident of the start of this race. Ryan Schuld had an incident as well, as we see him just getting back up to speed here. So very early on, we're seeing these guys having the issues that we kind of expected. We've heard from some of these guys that it was a little on the tougher side for handling, and that's something that they're going to have to learn. Is what we see now up in second place is a battle for second between Ethan Stanley and Tyler Fody. Both of these guys currently battling for position. Mark Robilas has crashed in the rear. He's able to keep that going as RC Enerson does continue to lead, and here's that battle for second.
Yeah, absolutely, Robert, and I'm starting to get flashbacks from last week in that caution-filled race, but luckily race control has allowed the drivers to not only get back on the track, but keep the flag flying green, and it's helping RC Enerson, as you see the lead. He has jumped out to, as we have another car off the track there, Bryson Hope, who is getting back on from the kitty litter there, so to say. But all this contact we're having in the back, and RC Enerson, his lead is just climbing.
Yeah, RC nearly 2.5 seconds. As you can see on screen here, we did just have an update from race control. Incident between the 12 of a Leighton Norgard and the 67 of Jorge Neva has been issued. A tally to the 12 of Norgard, and then another incident between the 69, that is Mark Murphy, and the 12 of a Leighton Norgard. Tally issued to the 69 of Murphy. We have an issue with Mark Murphy actually here, as he is very slow. Looks like he got a piece of the wall. We're going to take a look at that one on the Robilas Photography replay machine and just see what happened to Mark Murphy here.
Yeah, as we're seeing, following it from behind, number 69 there, Mark Murphy of the Black Magic Designs there, as you see, waiting for him. We think he clipped the wall. That's what we're waiting to see here.
Looks like he actually got hooked maybe by Cameron Rich there.
Yeah, it does look like he may have got the back right tire there that sent him spinning into the wall.
Yeah, as we see Murphy coming to pit road, coming to get any damage fixed. I will just make note for those of you watching at home, Tate Lytle has already called it an evening, as we see David Tooker around here just into one of the tighter turns here. It's a very hard right-hander there as David Tooker gets back going once again. We see RC Enerson nearly 3 seconds over second place Ethan Stanley, who now has just over a tenth over Tyler Fody, and then they have nearly 3 seconds back to Bill Tyler.
Rob, I know it's early in this race. We're in lap 3 of 44, but something we touched on last week, and I'm wondering if it's rearing its ugly head so far in the beginning of this race. We were watching last week how tough the handling was on these cars on an oval. I wonder if they're having the same issue the drivers are on this road course rather.
Yeah, it's definitely something that we'll keep an eye on. As you can see, Tyler Fody basically having to react to the track. You can see the car trying to step out on him when he goes through the corners, so a lot of movement of the wheel. I think it is exactly like last week where we saw them having to counter steer off the corners to avoid wrecking, as actually we do see David Tooker coming down pit road. I think he just had himself another incident here. He did. Jorge Neva also coming down pit road. Mark Murphy's still on pit road, and Cameron Rich and Tate Lytle have both ended their evening. So very early on, we're seeing a bit of adversity out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And just looking at timing and scoring there on the left-hand side of the screen, we're at lap 4 of 44 in last week's winner. Jared Rexing has climbed all the way almost to the top 5. He's currently sitting 6th, the number 10 car there. So that might be somebody to keep an eye on. Dominant performance last week. And slowly making his way towards the front there early in this race.
As you see Jared Rexing there battling side by side for the 5th position with Chad Frankenfield. A little further back, we did just have a Leighton Norgard off track. He's able to rejoin there. But Jared Rexing, like you mentioned, off to a rather strong start here tonight. I think he's really adapted well to these Lotus 49 cars, and I think it's really giving him an opportunity to succeed here, as Bill Colley just had an incident as well. A little further back, Shane Coogan now off track. A lot of early action here at Monza. Craig Forsyth had an issue as well. He did just tow to pit lane. So if you're a Craig Forsyth fan, we are expecting him to hopefully get that car fixed and back out here. Bryson Haw had an incident as well. So a lot going on here on lap number 5 of the Italian Grand Prix here in the Warriors for Peace Classic Series.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. But one thing I've noticed so far, it has been caution-free. A lot of spin-offs, a lot of individuals finding themselves in the grass, potentially clipping the wall. But so far, again, we're only to lap 5. But we've been caution-free, and that's got to bode well for the leader from the pole, R.C. Enerson, as he has jumped out to a huge lead here with the rest of the pack.
Yeah, RC's just kind of out for a little bit of a stroll right now. As you can see, he's just chilling out in the number 50 machine, trying to just stretch the lead out, which he has done so far. 3.5 seconds over Tyler Fode. Fode has been able to stretch out that second place gap over Ethan Stanley as well. They were on top of each other. Now there's about a second separating those two, which, for Tyler Fode, that's got to make you a little comfortable knowing that you don't really have Ethan Stanley breathing down your neck right now.
Yeah, absolutely. As these cars maybe try to kind of fan out a little bit, they may be able to catch RC at the front. But the more pack racing that we have here, that's obviously got to bode well as this race continues for RC Enerson.
Absolutely. As we ride on the roll bar camera here of Jared Rexing, you can see him chasing down the Frankenfield machine. That is for the 5th place. We have an incident with Bill Colley as we see him going through the kitty litter here, trying to get back onto the racing surface. Very early on, we're seeing a lot of these guys having issues and kind of struggling. Ryan Schuld down pit road as well. He's a very, very strong open wheel driver and a road course guy at that. And down comes pit road, Ryan Schuld here.
Yeah, early pit for him. I don't know, maybe that was in their strategy or whatnot, but going to be interesting to see if pitting early, bodes well as this race unfolds.
Yeah, it's going to definitely be interesting to follow along just as we see the strategy these guys are running tonight. One thing I just noticed there, RC, when he was on the brakes heading into the corner, it almost looked like the car wanted to step out on him a little bit, as we just got an update from Race Control from a lap number 2 incident between Mark Murphy, Michael Hossack, and the 47 of Cameron Rich that has been ruled a racing incident, so no tallies issued there. So all those guys did make it out. I mean, unfortunately for Mark Murphy and the 47 of Cameron Rich, they are both appearing to be out of the race. Michael Hossack still on track back there in the 15th position. But, I was not expecting to see this many guys basically out of the race so early. It looks like Tate Lytle, Cameron Rich, Craig Forsyth, Mark Murphy, David Tooker, and Jorge Neva at the actually, Neva's still on track. Oh, Tooker's back on. You know what, Derek? Just forget that I said anything, as these guys are back on the racetrack.
Yeah, as you report on one coming back on the track, another one steps off. So we just need to follow the camera angles that we have, and I have to say I'm impressed right now. The only one so far I think that has ran a clean race, obviously, is our pole sitter, RC Enerson. What a jump that he has gotten out to so far. I know we're only 7 laps into this thing. But you talk about dominant car. It's that number 50 car up front.
Yeah, RC Anderson is exceptionally strong on basically anything on a road course, but these open wheel cars is his bread and butter. This is what RC does. He races these Indy cars every time he gets a chance. Well, this is a Lotus, but he races open wheel cars anytime he gets a chance, and usually does pretty darn good at it. As Jared Rexing did have an off-track incident just a moment ago. He has lost a few positions, was battling for 5th, now finds himself in the 8th position. Doesn't look like any damage on the number 10 car, but any time lost is definitely damaging.
Yeah, it absolutely is, especially if you have such a dominant car out in front. You got to hit your marks because every second I think on this track is obviously going to be crucial.
Most definitely, every second out here is absolutely crucial. Every lap, as we do see right now, this is RC Anderson. Just ahead of him is the soon-to-be lap car of Bill Colley II. So it'll be interesting to see how RC navigates around. Bill pulls over to the side, lets RC go through as the battle for second brewing back up here. It is Fody with Stanley just behind him, and then Bill Tyler just a little bit behind them, as well as, wow, Ethan Stanley just stepped out big time there.
Yeah, he absolutely did. What an interesting race we have so far. I was surprised. I wasn't surprised to see that car get out of the way. RC Enerson just hooked in 8 laps into this.
Absolutely correct there. And just another update from race control. Lap number 4, contact between the 27 of Craig Forsyth and the 76 of Bryson Haw has been ruled a tally on the Bryson Haw machine. So Bryson has 1 tally on him right now. Of course, 2 tallies, and that is typically the end of your evening, as we see Jordan Owens now battling side by side with the Leighton Norgard. Norgard does get through rather easily and move a Leighton Norgard now up into the 12th position. Drew Eisenman just had a big off track there. He has binned that car.
Yeah, that may, we'll see if that ruins his evening as he's able to get back on the track. But I'm sure he's going to have to enter the pits and let his crew look at that damage.
Surprisingly, he actually stays on the race course here. As you can see, he does have some front end damage on that machine, but Drew Eisenman's sticking it out.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see as these laps tick off. Here's we're at lap 9 to see how much that front end damage there messes with his car, the handling, turning in the corners, etc.
That's exactly it. It'll be interesting to follow along and just see how that develops. We did just have another off track there from Mark Murphy. Mark able to keep it going. Bill Colley now off track, just avoiding those tires. Good job by Bill there. As we'll head back to the battle for second place. It is now Ethan Stanley ahead of Tyler Fody. Bill Tyler just behind them. Let's ride on board here for a moment with the Tyler Fody machine, as he's actually making a pass now on Ethan Stanley for second place. So a little bit of a battle there. We did just have a crash for Bill Colley. He has towed it to pit road to get that machine fixed up, as Tyler Fody now back in second. Here comes Bill Tyler.
Yeah, sad to see that machine retire for the day, but it looks like that may be the recurring theme that we have here as we are 10 laps in here. We're on board, as you said, with Bill Tyler currently in fourth place. Trying to keep that wheel as steady as he can, but he's trying his hardest to say. But good control so far. Hopefully, maybe he'll be able to make his way to the front.
Yeah, that is definitely his goal here. We're just going to watch through this sequence of turns here and see how this car handles. Actually rotates fairly well through the corners, but definitely a lot of movement of the wheel, trying to just keep this thing going straight, as you do see Bill Tyler there in fourth, trying to run down Tyler Fode and Ethan Stanley, as those guys do battle for second through fourth. Way out front now, 6 seconds ahead to be exact, is RC Anderson. And just a reminder again, for those of you watching at home tonight, of course, 50% fuel capacity in their fuel cells here. 2 sets of tires, so only 1 set remaining in the pits, and these guys definitely will need to come down pit road for some sort of fuel in this race. So I would expect them likely around the halfway point, so maybe about 10 laps until they come down pit road, but that'll be something to watch here.
Yeah, absolutely, and it is going to be interesting to see as they do come down pit road if RC is going to be able to keep that lead that he continues to build on here at lap 11.
Yeah, RC has done a really good job so far, as have these guys battling second through fourth here. I do want to jump a little bit further back as we see Andy Tripiano trying to chase down the Justin Wadsworth number 18 car. As you remember, last week Justin Wadsworth was very strong at the Auto Club Speedway, came home with a 4th place finish after starting in the 10th spot, was able to make some very risky moves that kind of paid off for him. 3 wide, 4 wide, I think he even went 5 wide at one point, but Wadsworth finds himself back in the 9th position. Doing a pretty good job. I don't know if he's too much of a road course guy, as we did just have Tyler Fode maybe went a little too wide there off track. Chad Frankenfield had the same issue, so I think it might just be that corner that triggers as these guys crashing. As you see Ethan Stanley going by Tyler Fode now, and here comes Bill Tyler just behind him.
Yeah, absolutely. What racing that we have in the back of the pack here is we have that up on video, and all this racing that we're seeing back here in the pack. Who's loving it the most, Robert? Our leader RC Enerson, who just continues to dominate and stretch his lead out with all this pack racing.
No doubt in my mind that RC Enerson is very, very pleased with the racing that I was going to say he could see in his mirror, but he is not seeing anything in his mirror right now. 7.5 seconds ahead of Tyler Fode, who's just coming onto the straightaway now, as RC is just about into the corner. But, RC is going to have to eventually maybe deal with these guys when it comes to pit strategy. But if he can continue the pace he has right now, RC Anderson should just run away with this.
Yeah, absolutely. As long as he continues to hit his marks and doesn't have any trouble on pit road, I think the one big thing that RC is going to have to watch out for if he's going to continue to be the leader out front is this lap traffic. But if they're going to let him go by with no hard racing, then it's all on RC to hit his marks and come away with this win.
That is correct, as we are just past 1/4 of the way through today's Italian Grand Prix. Of course, RC Anderson leading by 8.5 seconds over Tyler Fode. Ethan Stanley, Tyler Fode just behind him, as is Bill Tyler. Then they have about a 3-second gap, 4 seconds actually, back to Chad Frankenfield, who has about a second over Justin Fortner, Jared Rexing, Hunter Smith, Andy Tripiano, and Justin Wadsworth there as well in the top 10. Then we have Drew Eisenman, Leighton Norgard, Jordan Owens, Jim Herrick, Shane Coogan, Michael Hossack, Rory Collins, Bryson Ha, Mark Robillis, Jorge Neva, rounding out the top 20. David Tooker still running right now, as is Mark Murphy. And I do believe that is it of the cars still on the race course. So about 22, 23 of them still in the race, as RC still extending that lead nearly 9 seconds now.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I know, we have a handful of laps or so left, but if RC is able to, like I said, continue to hit his marks as we see a car spin out in front of him, but if he is able to continue to hit his marks, doesn't have any trouble with lap traffic or in cautions, as well as we have the replay up here.
This is the Mark J. Robiles photography replay machine showing Mark J. Robiles on your screen right now. He went for a little bit of a crash here, grabbed the wall just ahead of our race leader, RC Anderson. I want to back that up just a little bit and ride on board with RC as he saw this wreck right ahead of him. Might have thought his race was about to end right there.
Yeah, he did. Good thing he was able to save it there a little bit, as we're still caution free.
One thing we just missed, Derik. Ethan Stanley, who was running in the second position, just had an incident of his own. He actually hit the Mark Robiles machine. Wow.
Yeah, he absolutely did. As we will rewind this a little bit, trying to get through the trees there, but it just looks like that machine there just kind of either Stanley didn't judge how quickly he was coming up on that car or whatnot. But as we see right on board here, and Ethan Stanley just drives right into the back of that machine and sends it soaring.
Tally has just been issued to the 96 of Mark Robiles for that incident. Wow, Tyler Fody did a nice job of avoiding that, as that was catastrophic for Ethan Stanley right there. He had run really well up inside the top 4 the whole race, gained a bunch of spots from the start, and all of a sudden finds himself now on pit road with a heavily damaged car, and now we see Bill Tyler up into second place with Tyler Fody chasing him.
Yeah, it's definitely, it seems like it's a battle for, second on back. It's RC Enerson and the rest of the field. He has a, 10-second lead, and lap by lap, he is building it even more. All he's doing right now, hitting his marks. Lap traffic is getting out of the way for him. That's one thing to keep an eye on if that's going to continue. But it's RC Enerson basically right now against the field.
Yeah, absolutely. And if the field wants a chance to even think about battling with RC Anderson, they better step on it, as he is nearly 11 seconds ahead of second place Bill Tyler and Tyler Fody, as we see those guys now a little bit of a gap between them. Ethan Stanley did just have another incident. I think that car may be a bit too heavily damaged at this point after trying to get some repairs on pit road.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if he's able to make the correct repairs and able to come back out and get some points. I have to say I am kind of shocked, Rob, that we've had so many cars either retire in the first stages of this race or lose control. But I have to give it to race control so far. You've had so many cars off the track, as we see RC off the track a little bit. So, missed his mark there a little bit, but I guess, no harm, no foul, as we see him off the track a little bit there as well. Has his lead, you see, and he was at 11 seconds, and that little bobble right there cut about 4 seconds off the lead there, as, Tyler Fody trying as hard as he can to make up that 7-second lead.
We're going to ride on board with RC, just see what happened there. I think he may have just gotten a bit too much of the curbing, kind of unsettled the car a little bit, which is actually not what happened here. We'll see what happens with RC. He just got too hot into the corner, slid off the outside into the dirt, but that actually took a big chunk out of his lead. 3 seconds was lost there. Now Bill Tyler, Tyler Fody commencing their battles once again. So this will just allow RC to start pulling away from these guys if they continue to battle side by side. So RC is definitely happy to see on the relative that these guys are battling now. He's able to push and try to regain his lead, but you actually see Bill Tyler slowly cutting into that lead now. Just under 8 seconds is the gap between RC and Tyler here. Bill Tyler and Tyler Fode as they continue their battle side by side as they're coming up on the lap car. I think that is Bill Colley. No, that is Mark Murphy actually just ahead of them. So they're going to have to work their way through. RC just had another little moment there off track, able to collect it and keep going here as Bill Tyler now just gets by Mark Murphy. Tyler Fode was able to break through back to second as we see a couple more cars go off track there. Jared Rexing, Justin Fortner, Chad Frankenfield, lap 16 of 44 here in the Italian Grand Prix.
Yeah, something else I think it's going to be worth watching as we see RC try to build his lead back up. The times that he misses his marks and he ends up over in the grass, how much is that going to upset the car or affect it here as he tries to build that lead back up?
Yeah, RC's just got to be really careful at this point. He can't afford to. Yes, he has 9 seconds of a lead, but you just look at the incident that he just had there. A brief off-track moment cost him 3 seconds over second place. So if he has another moment like that, then it's down to about 5 or so seconds, and eventually you get to the point where those guys are able to work together, maybe get a little bit of draft off of some lap cars, and all of a sudden we have a 3-car battle for the race lead.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. If RC doesn't continue to hit his marks like he did in the first 15 laps, that's obviously going to bode well not only for Tyler Fode but the rest of the field. And we may actually have a close racing here as we get down to almost 20 some laps to go.
Yeah, most definitely 5 laps or so away from the halfway point in tonight's event here in the Warriors for Peace Classic Series. It is Tyler Fode continuing to lead over RC Anderson leading over Tyler Fode and Bill Tyler, with Chad Frankenfield, Justin Forder rounding out the top 5 right now as we actually ride on board with Jared Rexing, last week's winner, just outside that top 5, looking for an opportunity to work his way back up into this battle for the 4th and 5th positions. As you see just ahead of them, another lap car, hoping that they don't see an incident like we saw earlier with the Mark Robilas machine, as I believe RC Anderson may have just had another brief moment. He's able to get back on track here, and that lead seems pretty steady at 9.5 seconds.
Yeah, it absolutely does. He was up to 11 just a few laps ago, but a couple missed marks has cut that 11-second lead down to 9. I think right now Tyler Fode and maybe the rest of the field is going to have to hang their hat on getting a great pit stop, making some adjustments. Because right now it looks like, obviously without missing a few marks that Enerson did, he's got that car dialed in tonight.
Yeah, you can definitely say that again as we see Jared Rexing now coming down pit road. This may be kickstarting the pit cycle that we knew was coming up here in the next handful of laps, lap 18 of 44. So we are approaching the halfway point, 27 laps remaining here out of 44. And I do expect these guys to start thinking of pit stops probably within the next 5 laps.
Yeah, it's got to be coming here close. Going to be interesting to see how long RC decides to stretch this run out before he does go into the pits.
Yeah, as we do see Fode and Tyler battling for second. I do believe that is the closest battle on track. Actually, I do stand corrected here. Here we have Andy Trupiano and Justin Wadsworth side by side. That's for the 7th position, as Trupiano able to get by, move his way up into 7th. Wadsworth back into the 8th position. Another battle a little bit further back here. That is now Jared Rexing chasing down the Michael Hossack machine. Rexing has fresh tires. As you see the rear end of that car step out there, I wonder if that's the new tire effect.
Yeah, definitely going to get new tires. It's going to take a few laps to get some heat build up in them. But yeah, that car did step out a little bit, but due to the fresher tires.
100% there. 10.5 seconds is RC's lead over Tyler Fody. As we just look through the field, see what's going on here. That Wadsworth and Trupiano battle about to heat up once again, as we do see this is Justin Wadsworth chasing down Andy Trupiano, looking for a chance to go back into the 7th position. Take a look at Bryson Ha doing a little bit of landscaping back there, cutting across the track. Obviously not intentional there, but still a bit of landscaping work, which we can charge to Monza here on behalf of Bryson Ha.
RC still firmly out in control. But like we said, within the next few laps or so, cars are going to be coming in to the pits. Top off a little bit, get some new tires. Interesting to see how that's going to affect not only the race leader, but the rest of the pack, if they're going to be able to have enough here with about 25 laps to go as it ticks up there to catch the race leader.
And one thing to point out, this is now 2 laps in a row that RC Anderson has run the fastest laps of the event. This time it was a 1:37.8. That is nearly 1 second quicker than anybody else. The next closest car, actually, as we have a car just 2/10 off of the pace of RC Anderson, that was Justin Fortner, with actually 3/10 off, 1:38.1. That's the closest anybody has been to the quick times that RC has run. So maybe Justin Fortner has something for these guys if he gets the opportunity to come up further into the field here.
Yeah, shaving seconds off lap by lap as we're riding on board here with Justin Fortner, the number 26 Little Eagle Racing, as we're on board with him. A little bit of oversteer, just slightly, but he's able to keep it on track as you get a good perspective as to how the drivers are trying to tame Monza tonight.
It's a very different circuit here at Monza. There is a little bit of an elevation change, but for the most part, the track surface itself seems fairly on the flat side, as somebody just lost it right ahead of Justin Fortner. That is Chad Frankenfield. As Frankenfield just went around, we saw it through the onboard camera of the Justin Fortner machine, but we'll take a look on the Robiles Photography replay machine and see what happened to our 4th place car, Chad Frankenfield here.
Yeah, as we're high above the number 15 car, just gliding in and out of the turns, and he just loses it on the back end. Goes out a little bit, and he is hard on the brakes. Saves it so he doesn't end anyone else's night there.
Yeah, he did a nice job of saving that car, not causing any further damage. Justin Wadsworth now coming down pit road here. He's the second of our top 10 cars to come down here. Lap 24 of 44 here, so 24 laps to go here in the 44 lap event. So 20 laps in, we should be coming up on those pit stops very shortly, as we do see RC Anderson once again coming up on a lap car. I believe, yes, that is Bryson Ha, who we just saw doing a little bit of landscaping work not too long ago. Ooh, RC just got a bunch of that curbing right there.
Yeah, he did, as we were just keeping a close eye on him. Hit the curb there a little bit, but he just continues to roll on with 24 laps to go, and he is sitting there in the catbird seat, 12 seconds ahead of second place Tyler Fody.
Yeah, 12.5 seconds. A great job by RC Anderson, as we do see Mark Robiles did crash here on the rear part of the circuit. We'll take a look on the Mark J. Robiles Photography replay machine and see what happened to Mark J. Robiles as we try to get a good shot of this one. I believe the rear end's just going to step out on him. He may clip a little bit of the grass. I think he may have grabbed the grass a little bit with the right front. but Robilas did go around. Doesn't look like too much damage at all on that machine, and he will be able to continue on. But, like you mentioned, nearly 13 seconds right now for RC Anderson. Even if he were to pit here and come back out, Fody and Tyler stay on the track, he would still likely come out in the third position, which is pretty crazy considering, how close these guys are in times.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. As we can see, he's trying to, it looks like, stretch this run as far as possible. There's about 23 laps or so left. He has not, went down the pit road yet. He's got to be coming here, I would imagine, relatively soon. Good clean stop, and it's just going to be interesting to see. Does the other cars behind him, do they have enough? Are they going to make the right adjustments to catch RC Enerson if he does come out with the lead?
If I remember correctly, last week we did see a varying pit strategy with Cameron Rich coming down much sooner than anybody else, and it kind of worked for him. He was able to get himself a podium finish, and I do wonder if maybe you'll see Bill Tyler or Tyler Fody even go for the undercut here, try to pit a little bit sooner. We are halfway in the Italian Grand Prix here at Monza, and RC just continues to lead, so you have to find a way to cut into that lead. It's not necessarily going to happen on pace, as we haven't seen anyone really be able to close the gap whatsoever on RC. So if you can pull off a strategy, maybe close that gap in half, or even somehow get the lead, then I think you have to do it.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. With 22 laps to go, definitely I think strategy is obviously going to play a huge role in determining who walks away, not only the winner of this race, but on the podium.
Absolutely, as we did just see Andy Trupiano come down pit road from the 8th position, so another one of our top 10 cars have come down pit road. It'll be interesting to see who is next, obviously halfway, so I think we have to be close at this point to some pit stops, and I'm kind of expecting maybe a Justin Fortner or a Chad Frankenfield to bite first here, if it's not somebody like Tyler Fody or Bill Tyler. But like I said, and you said as well, you really just have to play the strategy game at this point.
Yeah, I think that that's going to be the only way to erase the deficit that RC has built.
And actually, here we go.
Yep, as we were just commenting on when the leaders and such were going to come down pit road. Well, we have it.
Here they all come, actually. RC Anderson, Tyler Fody, and Bill Tyler all down pit road together here. We'll wait and see if potentially Fody or Tyler could close the gap a little bit here. Obviously, we do see Justin Fortner has stayed on the racing surface. He is the new temporary race leader here, as we also see Chad Frankenfield has made his way onto pit road. Hunter Smith stayed out. We're going to be watching RC. RC makes his way off of pit road here. Let's see how far behind Bill Tyler and Tyler Fody are, as they're still in the process of fueling up their Lotus 49 machines here. Bill Tyler now coming off pit road. I don't really think he gained much at all, if anything, as we'll watch the gap here. Tyler Fody coming off pit road. Here comes the rest of the field down pit road here. Yeah, it doesn't look like anything was really gained there. Still about 12 seconds separating RC Anderson and Bill Tyler. That'll cycle out to be the race leaders once again, with those top three of Anderson, Tyler, Fody, and Bill Tyler. As we see the rest of the field is indeed on pit road, except for Hunter Smith and Justin Fortner. They're trying to stretch it out a little bit here, see what they can do. Maybe try something to give them an opportunity to potentially battle for the race win here, but I think RC Anderson is just way too quick.
Yeah, he definitely has the car, obviously, to beat tonight after after we cycle through here. A huge gamble, I think. Fortner and Smith took not coming or not going out or not going coming in rather, as you see the number 26 car coming in. But yeah, as we cycle through here with about 20 or so laps to go, as Enerson's going to retake the lead there by about 12 seconds, as you mentioned. He has been dialed in from the drop of the green flag. And if he does end up hanging on to be the race leader, going to be interesting to hear his comments. How did he get his car so dialed in this evening, as we've seen?
That's definitely going to be something that we'll have to ask RC Anderson if, of course, he is able to hang on for the victory tonight. Obviously, anything can still happen. 20 laps to go. That's a long time around the circuit, so it'll be definitely interesting to hear from RC no matter what, just to see what he was doing differently, maybe something that he could give from his book of secrets. But what we're going to do right now is we're going to take a quick commercial break and hear from our friends at TA Services, and we'll be right back to take you to the end of the Italian Grand Prix. And we are back here in the Italian Grand Prix. That was our friends at TA Services, one of our great premier partners here at the Elite Racing League. As well, Blue Egg Marketing is the marketing department for small businesses, small business owners. Blue Egg is your biggest fan. And of course, our newest premier partner here at Elite, the Worldwide Technology Raceway, is a motorsport racing facility in Madison, Illinois, just east of St. Louis, Missouri, and close to the Gateway Arch, featuring a 1.25-mile oval, a 2-mile road course, a quarter-mile drag strip, and a state-of-the-art karting facility. Check out Worldwide Technology Raceway today. And of course, this is the Warriors for Peace Classic Series. Warriors for Peace is a foundation promoting peaceful change in the world to honor the beautiful life of Jack Shockley. Check out warriorsforpeace.org for more information. That is peace.org. And back to the action on the racetrack. Of course, RC Anderson continuing to lead by 13 seconds over Bill Tyler. And Bill Tyler now has nearly 5 seconds over Tyler Fode.
Yeah, as the pit cycle finally cycled its way back through and put RC Enerson back on top with about the 19 or so laps to go. If you're RC right now, you just want to hit your marks. Don't make any mistakes and continue to build on that lead, because, like you said, from start to finish this evening so far, it's been RC Enerson against the rest of the field. So, if you're RC, you want to play it safe, as we see smoke coming from that number 96 machine as he hits the inside retaining wall.
That will end the evening of Mark Rabilas. Unfortunately for him, he was caught up in many incidents tonight. He's not a real road course racer. He doesn't do this all the time. But, kudos to Mark for sticking it out as long as he did. And he's going to come home roughly in the 22nd position tonight. So not what he was hoping for, but he still tried. And a lot of people watching at home didn't. So kudos to Mark for doing that.
Rob, let's give the people a little bit of perspective that may not partake in iRacing, and they're just here to watch. I know, you being a racer yourself, how tough is it to go from a super speedway like we were last week to a road course with so many turns as Monza has?
Yeah, it's really tough, because last week at Auto Club, for the most part, they were just flat out on the throttle, kind of lift a little bit for the corner, maybe use a little bit of brake. But here you're heavy on the braking. You're potentially shifting through the corners, which is a new element that you don't really deal with on the oval side. And obviously the weight shift as well, turning left, right very quickly, and even just dealing with these corners, although they look fairly wide, they can feel really tight in the cars, and there's not a lot of runoff space at a track like Monza, so you're really kind of screwed if you're not big on this road course stuff. And last night, for a guy like Mark, last night here in Elite, we raced the Daytona 500 on the stock car side of things, so another super speedway race, and it's definitely a lot to change over from that kind of racing to this.
Yeah, it absolutely is, and not only Rob, I think it's different for the drivers to have to adapt, but it's also different for obviously the cars, the setup to adapt as well. Obviously, going from a super speedway where, like you said, you're braking at a minimum to a road course where you're basically on the brake for about 75% of the time.
That's exactly it. And like you mentioned, the setup difference. Obviously, this is luckily a fixed setup league, but even just the feel of these cars is much different. When you're running an oval, they're set up for the left-hand turns. They're not set up to turn right. So here it's kind of set up to turn left and right. So you may not be totally comfortable with the way the car feels, and there's really not much you can do about it.
No, there's not. But obviously, one person that has hit the setup on the nail on the head so far, as we're down to about 17 laps or so, obviously, is our race leader who took the green flag and now is counting the laps down until he's able to take the checkered flag. Right there, as you see, R.C. Enerson, the number 50 Pro Edge Racing, and then something else. A side note on RC. Obviously, we have IndyCar coming up. They got their preseason kicked off this week out at the Thermal Club right there in Thermal, California. But if you are a fan of IndyCar, I would ask to go check out the podcast that I do each. I think it's going to be changing. It used to be on Thursdays, but I think I'm going to move it to maybe Tuesdays in the IndyCar racing season. Myself, along with a fellow coworker, Josh Roberts, and then we're adding the aforementioned driver analyst there, R.C. Enerson, to the podcast as well. So you can find that obviously Facebook Live, YouTube Live. Check out Push to Pass on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. But yes, we're going to be on there this season. We'll review upcoming races or preview upcoming races, review past races, and also too for you bettors out there. Believe it or not, I have found somebody that bets on IndyCar. So if that's something that you want to get into or you're already interested in, my bet guy comes on there as well. So check that out. Push to Pass podcast in our second season coming up here.
That definitely sounds like something I will need to tune into. I haven't really been able to follow IndyCar as much as I'd like to over the past couple years, but this year I do intend on watching as much as I can and hoping to get out to the Toronto Indy potentially in the summer. I've been there with the NASCAR Pinty series, doing some of the stock car side of things, but never really been able to experience much of the IndyCar, and I think it's really cool. It's a cool series, and having RC on the podcast as well, offering the driver point of view, is going to be really interesting to hear what he has to say from his experience and maybe the experience of some of his friends as well. Because Bill Tyler almost had an incident there, nearly wrecking into the pit wall.
Yeah, absolutely. As Bill was able to save it, as we see a car drop off there to head into the pits with just 15 laps to go. But yeah, definitely, it's Michael Hossock in the number 24 for Covered Bridge Racing. But yeah, excited to have RC on. He's going to be able to add a lot, I think, to the podcast. Was able to cover it as a podcast last year in Nashville. Racing in the streets of Nashville. We get an opportunity to do that, and the cool thing about able to do the media in Nashville, real quick, it's not every day, Rob, that you get to run into Indianapolis 500 winners, but during that weekend in Nashville, not only was I able to get the opportunity to speak with Marcus Ericsson, who is the reigning Indianapolis 500 champion, but also was able to speak with four-time the Drive for Five as he likes to say this year, Elio Castroneves, talked to Jimmy Johnson and others. So, like I said, it's not every day that you run into a Indianapolis 500 winner.
No, absolutely not. I've had a chance to race with a couple guys that definitely do have a lot of IndyCar experience. I've done Indy 500s here on iRacing in various leagues where I've gotten to start on the same row as Tony Kanaan and Stefan Wilson, and I even did a race with Mario Andretti. So just having the chance to, communicate with these guys is really cool, and they're so humble, so down to earth, especially for being people that have such, fame and wealth that they do.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. A quick story here as we see, 14 laps to go, and RC Enerson, almost has an 18 second lead as we're looking here. Is going off the track there. Was that car there? I don't know if that was
Shane Coogan.
Shane Coogan, number 9 in the GBC racing machine. There is going to hit the sign, but going to being able to cover the IndyCar, and specifically my hometown race, the Indianapolis 500 at the acclaimed Indianapolis Motor Speedway, which I think will be there later in the season. I got there the first day it opened. I go up to the media center, which is an amazing media center there at the track. I put my stuff up and I go down the elevator. And as soon as I get off the elevator, who do I run into? Jimmy Johnson. Nice guy, so down to earth, like you mentioned. The driver's down to earth, humble. But yeah, the things that I've been able to do in just 2 short years covering IndyCar, I think are things that I'll remember for a lifetime.
Yeah, the one thing that I've learned from years of racing, some of the higher level, even sim stuff here, is anytime you get a little bit of media attention, it still has that special feeling. And, last night in our Daytona 500, we had Seth Eggert from Kicking the Tires cover that event. And going back and reading his article, kind of seeing him shouting out different drivers and seeing your name in there is really cool. And even these guys like Jimmy Johnson and Helio Castroneves and whatnot, they still get that excitement reading about themselves and kind of seeing how good people think they are.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, and you were talking about getting shout outs and things of that nature. I was just going through some of the things that I've tweeted out the last couple days or retweeted from not only the IndyCar content, but their preseason, as they say, out at the Thermal Club. And I was surprised to know one of the drivers for Andretti Autosport, Devlin DeFrancesca, actually follows the podcast on Twitter. So I was interested to see that. I didn't know that. And then also, too, I did get the opportunity to interview on the show Stingray Robb. Now, if you're following IndyCar, you notice that he was the last driver to actually find a seat for this season in IndyCar. So
greatest name too.
Yeah. Absolutely. How can you go wrong with a name Stingray Robb? But I was happy to see he was able to find a seat and be able to be a full-time driver at the top circuit.
And he's racing with Rickware Racing. Is that correct?
I believe so. I believe he is racing with them. Yes.
And that kind of ties back into Devlin DeFrancesco as well, as he just ran the Daytona 24 with the Rickware Racing team. And what was kind of cool about that is he's 5'3", I think they said, and one of his co-drivers, Austin Cindric from the NASCAR side, is 6'4", and they're sharing the same cockpit, which is quite crazy considering the huge difference in size.
Yeah, I did notice that the 24-hour Rolex there in Daytona. I was happy to see a handful or more of IndyCar drivers being able to be teammates, a foursome, so to say, for that race. A huge congratulations, obviously, goes out to the Meyer Shank Racing for winning, I believe, their 3rd straight Rolex 24 at Daytona, and 2 of their drivers. Obviously, the aforementioned Elio Castroneves and Simon Pagenaud are both IndyCar drivers on that team, but they put one hell of a performance together with the other two. With is it Tom Bloomquist, I believe, and the other guy, his name escapes me, but that's a heck of an achievement. 24 hours of racing, and you've won it 3 years in a row.
Yeah, obviously, just to be able to win it once is an incredible accomplishment. But to win it 3 years in a row is legendary. To be honest, like just someone like Elio with his great skill and Pagano and Blomqvist and I can't remember the fourth driver either. But those guys all just put on an absolute show at Daytona last week, and like you said, it was great to see so many guys from the IndyCar side racing. I think they were in double-digit numbers actually of IndyCar competitors in that race.
Yeah, I think you are right there. Just looking through, I'm trying to find that other fourth driver that the name escapes me. But oh, there it is. It's Tom Bloomquist was one. He's legendary apparently, according to Elio Castroneves. And then Elio Castroneves, like I said, Simon Pagano, and that fourth name that escaped us, Colin Braun was the fourth one.
Pretty strong driver himself there, Colin Braun from, he used to take part in NASCAR events, and we've seen him for years now on the IMSA side, racing his way up through the road courses and doing a great job at it. So that's one heck of a team, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And this was actually the first time that I've ever sat down and watched IMSA in the 24 hours at Daytona. But yeah, going into it, like you mentioned, the amount of IndyCar drivers from Rinus VeeKay to Colton Herta, Elio Castroneves, Simon Pagano, Devlin DeFrancesca, Roman Grosjean, just to name a few. I said it's pretty happy to see that cast. Hopefully they'll be able to bring those eyes that were at that IMSA race, that watched that for the whole 24 hours. I don't know how someone could do that, but the eyes that they brought, the eyeballs they're going to bring to this IndyCar season, because I think this is going to be such an exciting season. You have so many new drivers, popping up here and there, and the talent that is coming up, not only through obviously it's an IndyCar, but the talent that's coming through IndyCar Next is definitely going to carry this sport.
Yeah, I totally agree. It seems like one of the stronger crops of prospects working their way up through that next program, and it's always great to follow along from that lower level. Obviously, still a high level of racing, as Hunter Smith just had an incident here. He gets his car spun back around going straight, but it's always great to follow along and see those guys as they work their way up through the ranks. Someone like a Stingray Robb that you could see at the development ranks working his way up, now found his way into an IndyCar ride. And there's obviously many more stories like that, but there's so many people to watch, and you can expect some great careers out of them as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one story obviously we're going to be following. Elio, as I mentioned, his drive for 5, he could become the first driver ever to win the Indianapolis 500 5-time, be a 5-time winner. Also, too, it's interesting the off season, that the silly season, as they say, that we've had, especially when it comes to Arrow McLaren. You want to talk about putting a super team together?
Wow.
Pato Award, who I think is going to be should be one of the contenders for the points championship, as we see Ethan Stanley spin out and he's back on track. But not only do you have Pato Award, but you have Felix Rosenqvist, and then adding another past Indianapolis 500 winner in Alexander Rossi. And don't forget, when it's the month of May for the 500, not only is that team loaded, as we see Ethan Stanley hit the wall hard and spun out right there in the back of the middle of the track, not taking anybody out. But don't forget, as you see Stanley going in the pits, Pato Award, Felix Rosenqvist, Alexander Rossi, and then for the month of May, talk about adding a knockout punch, Tony Kanaan, to that team as well.
Yeah, that is definitely a massive addition to that team. Tony's so strong in that race, and he's gonna try to get it done this year as well. As Arrow McLaren, incredibly strong. I think McLaren's just really, really trying to build up at every single level that they're in this year. Obviously, ramped up their F1 side a little bit, moving away from Daniel Ricciardo to Oscar Piastri, I think, is the second driver for McLaren in
Don't
F1 this year.
yeah, and don't forget who they have waiting in the wings. Not 2023, but 2024 if he doesn't stay with that team in IndyCar. Past IndyCar champion Alex Palou.
That's exactly right. We'll probably see him in more FP1 sessions this year as well, which would be great to see. Obviously, trying to ramp that up a little bit. Over the past year, everyone really followed along with the contract sagas all around there at just about every level when it came to McLaren. But Alex Palou waiting in the wings, and I definitely hope to see him behind the seat of an F1 car full time eventually.
Yeah, that was definitely the talk amongst the paddock in the second half of 2022. The inside joke was, well, what's really a contract? As we see another car spin out there, number 45, Jordan Owens of Independent Racing, as we have a little less than 8 laps to go. RC Enerson, if you're just joining us, has led from the green flag up till now. He has had a 11-second lead, which he built now, as you see, to almost a 20-second lead. So, as we said earlier, it's been RC Enerson against the rest of the field. And, however RC set up his car tonight, I think, Rob, he has definitely hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, one thing here in the Elite Racing League, Pro Edge Racing is always strong no matter what they race. And I think there's something about this team that's just so good. From R.C. Anderson to Tate Lytle, even David Tooker, although he had an incident tonight, Matthew Weeks in the stock car side, Ethan Burrell, just about everyone that races a Pro Edge car finds their way at the front, finds their way into victory lane. And I think it just says a lot about that team and the morale that they have there as well, because that definitely does go a long way. As RC leads by almost 20 seconds. That's insanity.
Yeah, it absolutely is. But let's not take away from what the other drivers have accomplished tonight. As you see the scoring grid there on your left. Tyler Fody, I think another strong finish. Well, we'll start number 2 there. Bill Tyler in second place. Not the greatest run he was looking for last week, but if he can hold on here with 7 laps, I'm sure he'll be pretty excited. Finishing second. Next, in the number 40 there, Tyler Fody for Lake Norman Motorsports. Had the pleasure to cover Tyler last year in IndyCar, so he is a very talented driver there in the third position. Heading back to number 4, Chad Frankenfield. I know he had a little bit of a disappointing race last week, but hopefully in 6 laps he can bring this home a top 5. That's got to build for his season. And then in 5th place right now, last week's winner, and I think coming out with another strong performance here so far is Jared Rexing, whom he moves, as you see there, to 4th. Jared, if he can finish there in the top 5, he's got to be excited. Going from 1st place last week, top 5 finish this week, 2 strong races in a row from him. In the number 6 position, currently there, Justin Fortner of Little Eagle Racing. He took a little bit of a gamble, I think, earlier in the race, not pitting when the leaders did. He wanted to stay out there, get a point or two, but looks like he's going to finish probably 6th or better here with about 6 laps to go. Moving to 7th position currently, Hunter Smith. Looks like he is the teammate there of RC Enerson, Little Eagle Racing. Smith kind of went with the same strategy there. He tried to stay out and steal a couple points. That may have hurt him in the long run there, as he is trying to hold down that 7th position. Going to number 8 here, Andy Trapino, I believe that's how that's pronounced, of Independent Racing in the 8th position. Good race there for Andy. Hopefully he'll be able to nail that spot down. Moving to position 9, Justin Wadsworth, Independent Racing there as well. Again, not as strong a run as he would like, but I think in a road course with this car, still trying to feel it out a little bit, I think a top 10 is nothing to be ashamed about there. And then rounding out the top 10 there, Drew Enselman in the Enseltech Enterprises number 77, trying to hold down the 10th spot there with 5 laps to go. So a lot of strong performances behind us in this evening, but none other stronger than what we're seeing from RC Enerson, who has now built almost a 21-second lead.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Derek. Obviously, we do see RC leading by quite a bit, but we definitely can't take away from everyone else in the races that they've run. RC does this for a living. This is his job. So, sometimes you kind of expect these pros to have the opportunity to really pull away like he has. And we still have a great battle back here between Chad Frankenfield, Jared Rexing, and Justin Fortner, with Hunter Smith about 11 seconds behind them. But this is the battle for the 4th position. 3 cars here. They've all done a great job tonight of keeping their cars clean and trying to take advantage of some strategy. Obviously didn't pay off for Fortner, but still looking to get a pretty solid finish out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. We still got some racing back there in the pack, jockeying for position, especially between 2nd and 3rd, being so close. But Frankenfield and Rexing, yeah, they're 40 seconds behind, but they're still battling out. There's close racing there with 4 laps to go. But yeah, the professional this evening, as you said, that does this for a living, not only in IndyCar, but the Lotus cars right there. Number 50, RC Enerson, Pro Edge Racing. Just a few more turns, corners left, 4 laps to go. And he's definitely going to, it looks like, he's going to be the race winner here, the 2nd race of the season, as long as something catastrophic doesn't happen between now and 4 laps.
Yeah, that's a great point. As David Tooker, his teammate, is having a bit of an off-track moment, doing a bit of landscaping back there on the little straightaway. But yeah, RC Anderson doing a great job. Of course, he did make a mistake earlier. We saw him off track, lost a bunch of spots as he grabs a lot of curbing right there. And something like that where he grabs the curbing, he almost lost it right there, actually. Coming off that corner, it really stepped out, and that's something that if you're Bill Tyler, you're kind of hoping happens to RC Anderson, as RC's about to grab 3 laps to go here at the Monza circuit. RC's done a great job, as really as everyone else that's still running in this thing. Not an easy track out here. We actually took the stock cars here last season, and that was quite the experience. So I can just imagine in these open wheel cars, as Chad Frankenfield did just make a pass on Jared Rexing for the 4th position.
Yeah, as we're down to 3 laps to go, and we were talking earlier in the race, different tracks, different setups, and next week, Rob, we're going to go to Pocono. So again, a different setup for these cars. Going to be interesting to see how much data that these drivers can take with them to Pocono next week.
Yeah, and the one thing that I'm kind of having circled on my calendar is week 5, when we take these cars to the Daytona International Speedway Oval. That is going to be insanity.
Yeah, the only thing I hope that, and I hope it doesn't come to fruition, is the caution-filled race that we had just 1 week ago.
Yeah, that's definitely something to keep an eye on for sure on the ovals. I think Pocono, we may see a good handful of cautions, just because it naturally kind of invites the yellow flags and incidents at that racetrack. But it'll be very interesting to see how these guys handle it. I expect RC to be very strong at Pocono, and I do expect to see guys like Jared Rexing back up front, as well as Justin Wadsworth, who was really strong at Auto Club.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be interesting to see, and I know that's probably a cliche that's overused, especially by me. But it's going to be to see if RC can continue this momentum that he's build up from this race here. I know it's a road course compared to what we're going to next week, but you got to think all the momentum is going to be behind not only RC Enerson, but Jared Rexing, who looks like he could be in for a top 5 finish with just 2 laps to go. So a lot of momentum, not only behind the RC Enerson machine in camp, but Jared Rexing there as well.
Yeah, Jared Rexing looking for another good points day tonight. Obviously, winner last week at Auto Club in the series opener. Now looking for a chance to maybe sneak away a top 5 tonight. He did get passed by Justin Fortner, and he is trying to run down Chad Frankenfield as well. But I think a top 5 finish definitely would be a good one for Jared Rexing. Great opportunity to build some points heading back into the next oval track. Well, not really an oval, I guess a triangle at Pocono, and then the week after that we're going to Watkins Glen. So a couple decent tracks should put on some good racing, and Jared Rexing looking for an opportunity to try to build a points lead.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are in for a treat. I think the next couple weeks there at Pocono, the Tricky Triangle, I believe, is what NASCAR has labeled out, or maybe the track labeled it itself. But yes, Pocono next week, and then right back to another road courses where you see the white flag coming out. RC Enerson takes the white flag with a 22 second lead. So Rob, I think he can almost coast. As long as he hits his marks on these this last lap here, RC can coast to pick up his first victory of this 2023 season.
Yeah, RC Enerson has one heck of a lead. Justin Fortner just went around there. What bad timing for that. Hoping to stay out ahead of Hunter Smith. He does not, as Justin Fortner just going to continue to lose spots. Justin Wadsworth coming now. Andy Trupiano a little bit further back, but Justin Fortner just lost a bunch of positions. He was up in the 5th spot, now back to 9th. Is Jared Rexing chasing down Chad Frankfield? Those guys just got the white flag, so they have a full lap to battle it out. That is the only battle on the racetrack right now, as absolutely nobody else is even close to each other. Rexing and Frankenfield battling. We'll just quickly jump back up. RC Enerson continuing on. That smoke you saw was Ethan Stanley having a bit of a barbecue off with the track workers there, as RC Enerson on track to pick up his first victory in this series. Chad trying to extend his position over Jared Rexing. That's 4th and 5th. It is Bill Tyler out front of Tyler Fodius. Here comes RC Enerson. He is going to take the victory here at Monza.
Yeah, absolutely. What a dominating performance there for the Pro Edge Racing number 50 machine of RC Enerson. Coming in second, number 23 there, Bill Tyler. And then rounding out the podium is going to be the number 40 machine there of Tyler Fody. So what a dominating performance there, as you see Tyler Fody crossing the finish line for the Lake Norman Motorsports. Chad Frankenfield, Little Eagle Racing coming in 4th, and rounding out the top 5, backing up a first place finish last week, Independent Racing number 10, Jared Rexing. But huge congratulations, obviously, to a dominating performance going out to the whole RC Enerson team. Can't wait to speak with RC coming up here in the post-race show and just talk to him about his dominating performance here at Monza.
As we do see RC just doing a little bit of a victory lap here at Monza. He'll likely come around and try to do a burnout. We'll see if he can do one, because last week Jared Rexing could not in these cars. But before we get to our podium finishers, we are going to take one final commercial break, and we'll be right back with you here on the Elite Racing Network. And we are back here at the Monza circuit here. It is RC Anderson burning it down after picking up his first victory of the season by over 20 seconds over second place Bill Tyler. That was a message from our friends at TA Services, one of our great premier partners here at the Elite Racing League, as well as Blue Egg Marketing. Blue Egg is the marketing department for small businesses, small business owners. Blue Egg is your biggest fan, and of course, Worldwide Technology Raceway, a motorsport racing facility in Madison, Illinois, just east of St. Louis, Missouri, and close to the Gateway Arch, featuring a 1.25-mile oval, a 2-mile road course, quarter-mile drag strip, and a state-of-the-art karting facility. Check out Worldwide Technology Raceway today. And, of course, this is the Warriors for Peace Classic Series. Warriors for Peace is a foundation promoting peaceful change in the world to honor the beautiful life of Jack Shockley. Check out warriorsforpeace.org. That is Warriors, the number 4, peace.org for more information. Derik, obviously RC Anderson did just pick up the victory, but standing by with you in the waiting room is indeed our third place finisher, Tyler Fody.
Tyler, first and foremost, congratulations on your third place victory. Talk a little bit about maybe some of the struggles that you had out at Monza today.
Yeah, pretty much everywhere. This car's a handful all over the place. Super fun though. Yeah, it took a little bit to kind of dial it in and really find the limit there, but I mean, we were over it a couple times. But overall, it's I'm pretty happy with where I was. I think I could have had second, barring a couple things, but overall, pretty good.
Yeah, definitely a good finish for you there in the podium at number 3. But were you surprised early in the race how many cars not only were spinning out, but were finding themselves in the grassy areas?
Not really. I mean, practice was showing that it was going to be a handful, and guys were going off, and I kind of figured we'd just have to take it a little cautious. Go over the edge and really put yourself in a bad position. So I'm not too surprised that was kind of happening around me, but just glad to have been able to keep it on track.
Rob, I'll throw it over to you.
Congratulations on your third place finish here tonight. RC Anderson was just on another level. You know, do you think he just has a little bit too much experience in these cars?
I think he's just good, and I'm sure the real life helps a little bit. But yeah, I mean, not surprised at all. A road course of any kind with any car, RC is going to have 20 seconds on the field. So I was a little bummed when he joined, because kind of knew we were racing for second after that. But I mean, props to him for being good. Not fun for the rest of us, but you know, I mean, we'll just have to deal with that. There's oval races on this schedule, so that's where we'll get it back.
Yeah, and actually we are going to Pocono in round number 3. How are you feeling heading into that track?
Yeah, really, really good, honestly. The Auto Club race was wild and really packy, you know, with the draft and the 3-4 wide. I think Pocono will kind of be in between, with I mean, obviously the multiple corners, but it's flatter. I don't think we're going to be packed up. I'm sure the draft will play a big role down the straights, but in the corners, I can't see us being more than 2 wide, maybe.
And just go ahead, Derik.
Oh, no. Tyler, like I said, congratulations on your third place finish. Rob, anything else you want to add before Tyler gives his shout out?
Yeah, I was actually just going to ask Tyler if he had anyone he wanted to give a shout out to.
Yeah, no, just Blue Egg Marketing for being on all my cars this year, and KNP Graphics and Kendall for painting them, and then also shout out to you guys for putting on the broadcast.
Well, Tyler, congratulations on your runner-up finish tonight, and we'll see you next week at Pocono.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Well, Derik, that was our runner-up tonight, Tyler Fody. Great run by him, or a third place finisher, Tyler Fody. Sorry, not the runner-up. You are standing by with the runner-up, Bill Tyler.
Bill, first and foremost, congratulations on your second place finish this evening. A lot of drivers looks like their car was a handful out there this evening. Did you fall into that same category?
Yeah, thank you. And yeah, the car is always a little bit of a handful. That's what makes it really fun.
You know, you finishing second, obviously trying to run down race winner there, RC Enerson. How impressed were you with the drive that he had and the lead that he was able to put together?
Yeah, I was really impressed. He had a monster qualifying time, and he was definitely the class of the field today. So, yeah, there's no way I was running him down. So, yeah, congrats to him. Real impressed.
Rob, throw it over to you.
Yeah, Bill obviously came home in second tonight. Still a great run. Obviously, like we mentioned, RC just dominated tonight, and it would have been tough for anyone to catch him. But finishing second ahead of guys like Tyler Fody, Chad Frankfield, last week's winner Jared Rexing, still very impressive. Obviously, we've heard from other drivers that tonight was a little challenging with the track and the setup and whatnot. What did you find was the biggest challenge behind the wheel of your number 23 car?
Yeah, that's a good question. I guess just being consistent and keeping the pace up the whole time. At the end, Tyler was really closing the gap on me, so I was as focused as I could be to keep putting in solid times without making any mistakes. So for me, that was pretty much the biggest thing. Is I think I got through today without making any real big mistakes. I missed a shift once, and that cost me a few seconds. But apart from that, I had a pretty good day, and I'm overall pretty happy.
Most definitely, and you should be up there in the points as well. Finished top 5 last week at Auto Club, finishing 5th. Tonight you finished second, so it should be a pretty solid points day to you. And just before we do get to your final shout-outs, I want to ask how you're feeling heading into Pocono next week.
Yeah, so as far as ovals go in this car, Pocono is my favorite one. I think it suits this car really well, and so it should be super fun. Looking forward to it.
Well, we're looking forward to it as well. Just before we let you go tonight, Bill, is there anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, I just want to give a shout out to Doug Nelson. He's racing in the series with us. He had a top 10 last week. He's pretty sick right now, so I just want to say well wishes to Doug. We're all thinking about you.
Absolutely. Sending our best wishes as well to Doug, and we hope to see him back on track soon. And we look forward to seeing you next week, Bill, at Pocono. Congratulations on your runner-up finish tonight.
Yep, thank you.
Derik, that was Bill Tyler, the runner-up tonight. Obviously, another great performance here. Finished 5th last week, like I mentioned, runner-up tonight. But tonight was all about this next man, and you are standing by with our race winner, RC Enerson.
RC, brother, what a run that you had this evening from start to finish, from green to checker, dominating performance here at Monza. Talk to us a little bit.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, once we got about halfway through, I was like, man, this race is a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. I was hoping this was going to be under an hour. I didn't realize how long these laps still were. But overall, pretty good. Led everything besides one. So it's a pretty solid night. Pole position, led almost every lap. I don't know if we got fastest lap or not. We might have got it, but couldn't ask for a better night, really.
We did notice a little bit early in the race, I think a lap around 18, 19, or 20, you did miss your mark a little bit. Was that driver error, or the car just the back end going out a little bit?
Yeah, this car is just really tough to drive. It's basically like a Pinewood Derby car with 1,000 horsepower, so it's moving around a lot. thing is lightning fast in a straight line, doesn't brake, doesn't turn very well, so it's a hard car to control. Yeah, just kind of lost concentration there for a sec, missed my brake mark, and it was just off to the races. And then when this thing gets in the grass, it's sketchy. I think I only lost 3 or 4 seconds from it, but able to just put my head back down and re-extend the gap.
Yeah, absolutely. RC, again, huge congratulations. What a dominating performance. I think we'll have you on the pod here in the next couple weeks as IndyCar gets kicked off. Throw things over to Rob.
As my mic is not picking up,
I got you.
All right, yeah, we could hear you. You do sound like you're muffled a little bit, but it is going through. But yeah, RC, it was just amazing to watch you from the jump of this race to the green flag, or to the checkered flag rather, dropped. You did, like you said, you did lose a little bit there in the pits, but overall, were you surprised that you were able to jump out and maintain?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, these cars draft so well. I got pretty lucky, I feel like. I mean, Bill and then Fody, they were really quick. I mean, they're right there with me on average times and on lap times throughout practice. And I think you guys saw with the draft, it was just ridiculous how far back you can be in gaining 20 mile an hour down the straightaway. So Tucker and Ethan Stanley going side by side for the whole first lap, pretty much getting me that 2-second gap, kind of broke that draft, and I just needed to throw down a couple of really good qualifying laps to kind of keep that draft broken. I think if they would have been attached to me, I would never have been able to break away. So it made the race a little bit easier for me, just making sure I was off to a good start, and it was just maintaining that.
RC, last thing, looking forward to Pocono next week. Anything that you can take from this race, road course, obviously, to apply at Pocono next week?
Yeah, a little bit. I think it's just the feel of the car, force feedback wise, and how much the rear moves around, and then on cold tires, how much this thing understeers. So the balance shifts a lot, especially by fuel load. So that's going to be really, really important going into oval racing. But it's going to probably end up just being really a pack race. I didn't really see too much on tire wear. I think after 20 laps sliding the car around here, I was only down to 93%. So it's not doing too much on tire wear. So it's going to be interesting at Pocono. I wish I would have made Auto Club last week, but I was out of town. But I'll look forward to trying to make this next oval race and kind of feel out how these things run in a pack.
Yeah, can't wait to see you at Pocono next week. RC, anybody that you want to shout out here and give thanks?
Yeah, you guys up here in the booth, you guys do an awesome job. I love watching these replays over, and that's what keeps me coming back. It's you guys do an awesome job up here, and of course Chad, who runs the league. He's running I think four series right now, and that's a lot. 4 nights a week hosting, and it's a tough job, and just thanks to him for putting the league on.
Again, RC, huge congratulations! What a dominating performance that you gave us tonight. Looking forward to Pocono next week and what the rest of the season has for you. And I think you'll be making a appearance on the podcast here in the not so distant future as well.
Yep, sounds good, guys. Thanks.
And that was RC Enerson, your winner and dominating performance with the Pro Edge racing machine. And Rob, did you end up getting your microphone fixed?
I did. I'm back. I do have some audio again.
All right. Well, we could hear you. I didn't know if you said it wasn't being picked up, but
yeah, it wasn't picking up. It was really weird.
Take us home.
Yeah, obviously great night tonight for RC Enerson. Did a fantastic job out there. Won by about 20 seconds over the second place car. Bill Tyler Fody did a great job as well. Chad Frankenfield, Jared Rexing in the top 5. All the drivers that were able to run this whole race tonight did a great job, and I'm looking forward to getting back to things next week at Pocono on an oval, see how these guys do. But I think that'll about do it for us here at Monza. Once again, have to thank Warriors for Peace, TA Services, Blue Egg Marketing, and Worldwide Technology Raceway. Have to thank all the drivers for coming out tonight. Chad Frankfield and Dave Huckleberry for their behind-the-scenes work. Jonathan Cutlip, our race controller, you, Derik, and the fans at home for watching tonight. Thank you for everyone tuning in.